Good evening. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Planning Commission meeting of May 11, 2026. For viewers watching at home, some members of the public may be participating via video conference or teleconference. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Ferris?
Here.
Commissioner Lanson?
Here.
Commissioner McMahon?
Here.
Vice Chair Buss?
Here.
Chair Tyler Kettlehutt?
Here. Tonight we have with us Deputy Community Development Director Fabiola Zelaya Meliker. Are there any written comments, announcements, or continuances at this time?
No written comments.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment. At this time, any person may address the Commission regarding a city planning matter that is not on this evening's agenda. Should the Commission wish to discuss an issue raised by a member of the public, the issue will be referred to staff for scheduling on a future agenda. Do we have any public comments?
No.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent calendar with the minutes of the March 23rd, 2026 Planning Commission meeting and the resolution confirming the Planning Commission's action of February 23rd regarding the multifamily mixed-use project at 2150 West Hillcrest Drive, Latigo, LLC.
Madam Chair, may I request that the two items be put as two separate votes? I would vote differently on the two items.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, and I just had a correction to 6B. The resolution on page 8, the approval date will be May 11th, not April 13th.
Okay. All right. So if we, Madam Secretary, would you please prepare us for a vote and break that into two? Thank you.
Yes, so the first will be on the minutes.
Okay.
I'll just
Yes.
move to approve the minutes.
Okay.
May I have a motion?
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Ferris?
Yes.
Commissioner Buss?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanson?
Yes.
Commissioner McMahon?
Yes.
Chair Tyler Kettlehutt?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. And the next, we need a motion for 6B, the Latigo resolution.
I would move we approve 6B.
All right. Could you please prepare us for a vote?
Commissioner Buss?
Yes.
Commissioner Ferris?
No.
Commissioner Lanson?
Yes.
Commissioner McMahon?
Yes.
Chair Tyler Kettlehutt?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1, Commissioner Ferris voting no.
Thank you. And will the clerk please open the public hearing?
Hearing having been advertised as required by law is hereby open to consider Agenda Item 7A, Precise Plan of Design, PPD 2025-70042, to allow demolition of an existing 3,348 square foot story single-family dwelling and the construction of a new 6,023 square foot one-story single-family residence with an attached garage, covered porch, patio, and associated hardscape improvements in the single-family estate RO zone, and find the project categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA guidelines pursuant to Section 15301L1, existing facilities, and Section 15303A, new construction or conversion of small structures, continued from April 13th, 2026. It is located at 1283 Granada Drive, and the applicant is DAF Trust.
Thank you. And presenting on behalf of staff is Assistant Planner Nicole Katz. But before we proceed, do any commissioners have any ex parte communications to disclose regarding this item? All right.
Good evening, Chair, Planning Commissioners, and members of the public. Tonight, we're here to present a request from DAF Trust. I'm joined by city staff from the Community Development Department and the applicant team to answer questions about the commission may have in regards to the request for the demolition of an existing single-family dwelling and construction of a new single-family dwelling at 1283 La Granada Drive. The item before the Planning Commission for this evening's consideration is to allow for the demolition of an existing 3,348 square foot, one-story, single-family dwelling to be replaced with a new 6,023 square foot, one-story, single-family dwelling with an attached garage, covered porch, patio, and associated hardscape improvements at an existing .58 acre residential lot. The property is located within the single-family estate zone, also known as the RO zone. Thousand Oaks Municipal Code, Section 9-4.2104, allows for a PPD application to permit a single-family dwelling in the RO zone. Thousand Oaks Municipal Code, Section 9-4.1808B2II, states that any request which involves the demolition and rebuilding of a single-family detached home where either the total floor area exceeds 150% of the original building floor area, or where the second-story floor area exceeds 75% of the original building footprint when the project is located in developments that are a mix of 1 and 2 or more story single-family homes per the original entitlements, shall be considered by the Planning Commission. Additionally, Thousand Oaks Municipal Code, Section 94.2803C, grants the Planning Commission the ability to approve a precise plan of design permit if the Commission can make the following 4 findings. 1, that the use is consistent with the general plan and any applicable specific plan or redevelopment plan. 2, that the use complies with all applicable laws, regulations, and policies, including the Thousand Oaks Municipal Code. 3, that the use will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. And 4, that the use conforms with the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. At this time, I would like to offer the Planning Commission an overview of the application's processing. On September 10th, 2025, a representative of the applicant team submitted the subject precise plan of design application to the Community Development Department, which was requesting the demolition of the existing 3,348 square foot single-story dwelling to be replaced with a new 6,023 square foot single-story single-family dwelling at 1283 La Granada Drive. On January 29th, 2026, the notice of application mailer was released and signage was posted on the property. On March 27th, 2026, notice of hearing signs were posted on the property, and on the 30th, notice of hearing mailers were released. Due to a premature removal of the notice of hearing signs, the request was continued from the April 13th Planning Commission hearing to tonight's hearing, which allowed staff and the applicant adequate time to renotice the project in accordance with the municipal code requirements. On April 27th, 2026, a second round of notice of hearing signs were posted on the property and notice of hearing mailers were released on that same day. To date, staff has received 1 email from a member of the public requesting information on how to watch the meeting virtually. Staff responded to the inquiry, answering their questions in a timely manner. The property is Lot 197 of the Conejo Oaks Tract Number 4, which was approved by the County of Ventura Planning Commission on March 25th, 1957. In 1959, a 1,680 square foot single-story home with a 400 square foot attached garage was constructed on the property under a building permit that was issued by the County of Ventura. Over the years, a series of single-story additions were permitted by the City of Thousand Oaks, which brought the structure to its current total square footage of 3,348 square feet. The property is located on an approximately .58 acre reverse corner lot in a rectangular configuration at the corner of La Granada Drive and La Cresta Drive. The site is currently improved with the existing 3,348 square foot, one-story single-family dwelling. Existing on-site accessory features include a putting green, hardscape, and landscape. A 6-foot public utility easement runs laterally across the northern portion of the lot. The property is located within a substantially developed neighborhood with established roadways and utility infrastructure. The site has limited sloping terrain. From La Granada Drive to the rear property line, there is an approximately 4% slope gradient. The grade rises approximately 2 feet from the street to the flat pad area where the existing home is located in the center of the lot, and then slopes upwards towards the back portion of the lot, an additional 6 feet to the rear property line. Along La Cresta Drive, there is terrain which slopes approximately 11 feet downward towards the eastern portion of the flat pad area where the home is currently located. In place of the previous dwelling, a new 6,023 square foot single-story dwelling will be constructed, which will consist of 5,133 square feet of living space, an 890 square foot attached garage, a 122 square foot covered porch on the south side of the structure, and a 569 square foot covered patio on the north side of the structure. Other site improvements include a new retaining wall to the east of the dwelling, new wrought iron fencing to the east and north, and enlarging of the driveway area. At its highest point, the structure will be 19 feet and 7 inches in height, which is below the allowable height in the RO zone. Below the allowable maximum height, my apologies. Before you on the screen is the south and west elevations. The south elevation will be visible from the front of the property off of La Granada Drive. The west elevation is the elevation adjacent to the neighboring property at 1261 La Granada Drive. The south elevation contains the main points of entry to the home, the front door, and the garages. This slide depicts the proposed east and north elevations. The east elevation is adjacent to La Cresta Drive and will only be partially visible from the roadway due to the pad area sitting below the finished grade of the road. The north elevation is adjacent to the neighboring property at 1078 La Cresta Drive. As mentioned previously, at its highest point, the single-story structure will be 19 feet and 7 inches in height. This is consistent with the development pattern within the vicinity of the site, which incorporates a mix of 1- and 2-story homes. Residential projects, including this one before the Commission this evening, are evaluated for conformance with the Precise Plan of Design Guidelines, also known as PPD guidelines, which were guidelines adopted by the City Council with the intention of ensuring that new residential developments are compatible in architectural style and scale with the existing neighborhood and character while respecting the existing environment. Staff has reviewed the project and is of the opinion that the project conforms with the PPD guidelines. Although the proposed structure may be larger than a few other homes in the vicinity, it is still not the largest. The applicant team has utilized their large lot to position the structure in a manner which provides structural setbacks that are greater than the minimum requirements. This ensures that the home is not out of scale with its surroundings in terms of visual presence. The existing neighborhood consists of primarily ranch-style 2-story homes with facade finishes of stucco, siding, and decorative brick. The project is a contemporary style. However, it utilizes decorative materials and earth and tone hues consistent with other homes in the area. The building design incorporates enhanced architectural design, which includes vertical and horizontal design elements, decorative finishes, and materials in subdued earth and tone hues, and the application of facade materials uniformly across all building elevations, which results in massing breaks and visual interest. Multi-level roof lines, a mix of building materials, and contrast frame windows complement the contemporary style of the design. Since this is an area that has been previously disturbed, no natural slope areas exceeding 25% or greater are impacted. The proposed development area was sited to take advantage of the existing graded pad area within the center of the lot. The project proposes slight pad expansions to the north and east of the existing pad, which would accommodate improvements, as well as minor grading to the south to accommodate a slightly expanded driveway. Based on design and the limited amount of grading, staff supports their grading and site design. The property, as mentioned previously, is located within the RO zone, which has zone-specific development standards. As demonstrated in the chart on your screen, the project meets all applicable development standards for the RO zone, including structural setback and height limitations, off-street parking space requirements, retaining wall and fence height limitations, and driveway gradient. In general, the municipal code requires reverse corner lots to maintain a side yard setback for walls and fences on the street side of no less than 10 feet. However, Municipal Code Section 9-4.2509 I-1 allows the placement of walls and fences within the street side yard setback if the traffic engineer and community development director determines that adequate vehicular and pedestrian site visibility are maintained at all intersections of public streets and private driveways, and that adequate means are available to offset the visual impact of the wall and fence. This project proposes a 42-inch high retaining wall and a 6-foot high wrought iron fence within the required 10-foot side yard setback along La Cresta Drive. Through review and coordination with the Public Works Department, it was determined that the location of the retaining wall and wrought iron fence within the side yard area adjacent to La Cresta Drive will not impede adequate vehicular and pedestrian site visibility. As discussed at the beginning of the presentation, the Commission is provided the authority to approve a PPD application if 4 findings can be met. The first finding that must be made is that the proposed use is consistent with the general plan and any applicable specific or redevelopment plan. The project site is located in the Conejo Oaks neighborhood and is designated as neighborhood very low within the land use element of the general plan and is not located within a specific or redevelopment plan area. This land use designation has a density range of 1 to 2 dwelling units per acre, a maximum structural height limitation of 35 feet, allows for single-family dwellings and other low-density residential developments, and is characteristic of existing areas zoned for single-family residential development on larger lots. The project site is approximately 0.58 acres in size and has an allowable density range of 0.58 to 1.16 dwelling units. This request involves the demolition of 1 existing single-family residence and replacement with 1 new single-family residence with a maximum height of 19 feet and 7 inches. The request does not exceed or come into conflict with the allowable density, use type, or structural height limitation of the neighborhood very low designation, and the project is consistent with the general plan and may be permitted through an approved precise plan of design application. Furthermore, the project supports general plan goals LU2 and LU 8.1. The second finding that must be made is that the use complies with all applicable laws, regulations, and policies, including the Thousand Oaks Municipal Code. The project site is located within the RO zone, which allows for 1 single-family dwelling per lot with an approval of a PPD application. All structural setbacks, height requirements, and other applicable development standards have been met as described within the municipal code. The proposed residence's scale, massing, roofline, vertical and horizontal design elements, and exterior materials and finishes are compatible with residences in the area and do not appear out of scale or character, thereby demonstrating conformance with the PPD guidelines. The third finding that must be made is that the project will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or the general welfare. The project has been reviewed and approved by the City of Thousand Oaks Community Development and Public Works Departments, the Ventura County Fire Department, and the Thousand Oaks Police Department. With the incorporation of the conditions set forth by these agencies and departments, the project will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or general welfare, and it will not unreasonably interfere with the use and enjoyment of neighboring, existing, or future developments, thereby meeting finding number 3. The fourth and final finding that must be made is that the project has been reviewed in conformance with the provisions of CEQA. The project was analyzed for conformance with CEQA and was determined that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA as a Class 1 and Class 3 categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15301L1, existing facilities, and 15303A, new construction or conversion of small structures. Section 15301L1 applies to the operation, repair, maintenance, permitting, leasing, licensing, or minor alteration of existing public or private structures, facilities, mechanical equipment, or topographical features, which involves negligible or no expansion of the existing or former use, which also includes the demolition and removal of 1 single-family residence. This project involves the demolition and removal of 1 single-family residence and replacement with a new single-family residence, which does not constitute an expansion of the existing use of the site. Section 15303A applies to the construction and location of a limited number of new small facilities or structures and the installation of small new equipment and facilities in small structures, which includes 1 single-family residence. This project involves the construction of 1 new single-family residence. Furthermore, staff has determined that none of the 6 exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption apply to this project. To conclude, after a comprehensive review of the project, staff has been able to determine that the project complies with the following required findings per Section 9-4.2803C of the Municipal Code. 1, that the project is consistent with the Thousand Oaks General Plan and any applicable specific or redevelopment plan. 2, that the project complies with all applicable laws, regulations, and policies, including the Thousand Oaks Municipal Code. 3, that the project will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or general welfare. And 4, that the project has been reviewed in conformance with the provisions of CEQA. Staff has determined that the proposed project is in scale with and architecturally consistent with the residences in the immediate area and will not result in a dwelling that would be out of character within the neighborhood, as the lot size can accommodate the proposed residence. It is staff's recommendation to, 1, find that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA guidelines pursuant to sections 15301L1, existing facilities, and section 15303A, new construction and conversion of small structures, and to, 2, adopt a resolution approving precise plan of design permit, PPD 2025-70042, per the draft resolution. This concludes my presentation, and I am available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Katz. Do any of my fellow commissioners have comments or questions? All right. Thank you. Now we would ask for the applicant or the applicant's representative to speak. Can you please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence for the record? And your team will have 15 minutes. I call Mr. Brian Lerman and Sean Trujillo and Lucinda, I am going to kill your name, thank you, are available for questions. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brian Lerman, one of the principals at Arc Design Group, Thousand Oaks, for our office location. And basically, I just wanted to thank Nicole for her diligent work. As you can see, it's very comprehensive with what she put together. So I don't have anything additional unless you have any questions that I can respond to.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I was waiting for Commissioner Lanson to ask his standard one, which I offer to him.
Yes, Chair, I have a question for the applicant. Looking at the conditions, is attachment 4, is the applicant in agreement with all of those conditions as stated?
Yes, she has, well, the owner is accepting the conditions.
Is there any ones that are potentially problematic or need further discussion, or are they in agreement as stated?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, no further questions.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And we have no public comments, is that correct?
No.
Okay. Now we'll go back to staff for any follow-up comments. Ms. Katz, if you have anything else?
No, I do not have any follow-up comments. Thank you.
All right. Commissioners, are there any questions or comments for staff? And I would assume that you don't feel like you need a rebuttal to any of that. All right, at this point, we'll close the public hearing. I will now open up the floor for discussion and/or a motion. Chair Lansing, Commissioner
Yeah,
Lansing.
thank you, Chair.
Go ahead, please, take it.
Initially, I wanted to say thank you, Ms. Katz, for a fantastic presentation. You keep getting better and better at these, so great job. Again, looking at these types of applications, it's nice to see that I always want to use the best use of property, and the designs and the concepts that you're going to end up doing as part of this process seem to be a really good look. It's going to improve the neighborhood. I'm sure all of your neighbors are thrilled to death that your actions will raise property values in that neighborhood and hopefully incentivize others to make their properties look as good as they can. So with that, I will make the motion to approve the application and find that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to section 15301 L1. I think it's an L or an I. L1, existing facilities, and section 1503A, new construction or conversion of small structures, and also approving the precise plan of design, PPD 2025-70042, which is attachment 4.
Thank you, Commissioner Lanson. Will the secretary please prepare us for a vote?
Commissioner Buss?
Yes.
Commissioner Ferris?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanson?
Yes.
Commissioner McMahon?
Yes.
Chair Tyler Kettlehut?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Any aggrieved party who wishes to appeal the Planning Commission's decision may do so by filing an appeal with the Community Development Department within 10 days. Thank you. And We have no department reports this meeting, is that correct? No department reports this meeting. Okay.
No.
Okay. Now is the time for commission comments and/or any AB 1234 reports. Are there any comments from any fellow commissioners? Yes.
I just wanted to note, I guess I would have mentioned it during the case, but these are one of these examples to where when the project comes before us and complies with all of the admittedly sometimes strenuous standards that we have to keep quality of life, makes the decision-making really easy. It's when we are asked to kind of overlook them or change them or provide waivers that it becomes more difficult. So continue to be thankful for applications and working with staff to accommodate that and keep things vibrant in that neighborhood.
I will second that, yes. Ms. Zelaya Melker, are there any follow-up items, announcements, or upcoming issues?
Yeah, tomorrow for upcoming meetings, tomorrow's City Council meeting, we have a couple of items, a proclamation for Building Month and a public hearing on CDBG action plan. On May 19th, we don't have any items scheduled as of today. And on June 9th, there will be a plan check and inspection consulting contract for the building division. And that's a consent item on the calendar for City Council. Upcoming items for Planning Commission, we have on May 18th, we will have a public hearing on the proposed downtown project. And on June 8th, we will have a public hearing for an addition to a single-family residence on Tudor Circle. And that is all we have.
Thank you. We will now adjourn to the next meeting on May 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m.